Hey guys, so just a quick disclaimer before we, dive in super deep. Um, this video is going to be about mental health, and mental health is something that should not be taken lightly. And I am certainly not a psychiatrist. I'm just going to be sharing kind of my experience and what's helped me. And what I'm going to be sharing is just thoughts and feelings that I've had, and I want to be super clear. This is not something that anybody should feel at any time, including me. I'm just sharing my experience because it's something that I'm sure that if I felt, other people have felt it well. And so I'm hoping that my experience will be able to help you as well. So with that out of the way, but before we dive super deep, I have some very good news. So all throughout 2021, every single time that I would go and see a Marvel movie, whether that was Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, every time that I would go see it, the first time, which is, usually opening weekend when all the hype is there and I'm trying to avoid spoilers and everything, every single time my infusion would go bad. It would tunnel, it would start leaking insulin. And I would need to leave, halfway through the movie, go home, change my infusion. Good news is that I saw Morbius, and that was not an issue. Even though I still was eating absolute garbage, I had my movie candy and everything, my infusion set held up, and I was able to sit through the entire movie. Of course, it had to be Morbius, which was not a good movie. But, I think that the trend is finally broken, which proves that, Tandem definitely was the problem, and now Omnipod is the solution. So what is diabetic guilt? Well, it's kind of a term that I made up to kind of describe how I feel sometimes. And it's feeling guilty about things related to your diabetes. And again, I want to be super clear that nobody should be feeling this way. But the reality is that sometimes diabetes can be limiting. So it's not unnatural to feel guilty that, hey, my diabetes is holding me back from some of my goals. It's holding me back from maybe some of my family's goals. So a good example of this would be financially, right? So diabetes, even if you have good insurance, it's still pretty expensive. And even if you have good insurance, the cost is buried somewhere, right? So, let's use $250 a month as an example. And that's probably very low, but let's count $250 a month. We're paying higher premiums because we're getting better insurance, or we're counting deductibles. We're counting, every supply that you need: insulin, infusion sets, Dexcoms, everything. Right? 250 is honestly probably pretty low, and honestly, the higher you make, it's probably going to be more. But let's say instead of spending that $250 a month, if you didn't have diabetes, that you would invest that in like a 401k, right? So I was 22 when I got married, and that's kind of when my parents stopped paying for my health care and made me kind of just go out on my own. 22 to 65, which is when most people retire, that's 43 years. If you invest $250 a month for 43 years at an 8% average return, which is what the S&P 500 returns historically, right? That's over $1 million. So it feels like it's costing you $1 million. Another area where I sometimes feel some diabetic guilt is when it comes to work. There are just certain types of jobs that my body just won't let me do. Jobs that have super strict deadlines, and I might not be able to meet a deadline if my blood sugar goes low. I can't take that kind of job. I know a lot of my wife's family is in construction. I don't feel like my body could handle that kind of job. Just the fact that I can't do these kind of jobs just sometimes makes me feel guilty. And even at the jobs that I do have and that I am able to do, sometimes I'm not able to perform at a high level because my blood sugar is going crazy. Or sometimes I'm missing work because I stayed up all night because I had an infusion go bad and my blood sugar was super high and I'm feeling sick the next day. It's just stuff like this that sometimes I feel guilty about. Also, on those bad nights, I keep my wife up. She's not trying to sleep through the night, get a good night's sleep so she can take care of the kid the next day. But she's super tired the next day because I kept her up all night when I was trying to deal with my stuff. And I could go on and on about stuff like this, but it's not right. Like, I shouldn't feel this way. But I mean, bottom line is diabetes. It's literally your own immune system attacked your insulin cells. When your own body's attacking you, how can that not take a toll on your emotional health? So when you do feel this way, and again, you absolutely should not, what can you do about it? Well, first things first is you do need to realize that it's 100% not your fault. You know, there's nothing that you could have done different to not have diabetes. There's not some, bad thing that you did to make you deserve this. It's a freak event and it happens and it's unfortunate. But there's nothing that you can do about it. Another thing that you can do, and this really helps me, is I like to focus on helping other people, right? For me, it's making these videos, and I definitely am not recommending that all of you go out and start your own YouTube channel. Please don't. I don't need the competition. I've had hard enough time getting people to watch and, like and subscribe here, which, by the way, side note here, 90% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed. Let's change that. If you're watching and not subscribed, please subscribe. Also hit that like button. But also, the big thing for me is doing trials. Right? Trials are a godsend for me. I love doing trials because it kind of addresses all the above. It helps other people. You can make some decent money doing trials too. So that helps ease the financial guilt. And also, at least some of the trials where like you're doing it for a CGM and they're comparing, they got an IV in your arm and you're doing blood draws every 15 minutes and they're comparing that to the YSI machine. You spend all day in a clinic. It honestly is kind of like a mental health day, right? You get a day to just kick back and relax. It's like a mini vacation. Another big thing that you can do is just take care of yourself both physically and mentally. Physically, if you're not exercising, you're not getting the right foods, you're not getting enough sleep, then you're that much more prone to getting sick and having crazy blood sugars, which of course will make these thoughts so much worse. And then last but not least, when you feel like you just can't win and diabetes is kicking your trash, we all go through phases like that. Just realize that it's going to get better, right? You're going to get more practice. You're going to learn the trends. You're going to learn which foods react which ways. And you'll learn and you'll get better. You'll get better at managing your diabetes. And also, technology is improving so much. I mean, just in the last 18 years since I've had diabetes, technology has gone up so much. I mean, I remember when I first got my first insulin pump, the diabetes educator I was working with, she was just like, oh, and this new pump, this new Medtronic pump, it's so cool. It has a clock now. And then she was like, and it was a bigger deal than I realized at the time because it meant that you could program temp basals to go at certain times. But I was thinking, like, that's the rate of innovation we're going, that a clock is a big deal. And since then, it's just been skyrocketing, right? CGM accuracy has gotten so much better. And if you guys are paying attention to the Dexcom G7 and the Freestyle Libre 3, those things are tiny and they're so convenient. I mean, the Dexcom G7 has a half-hour warm-up time. That's crazy, right? Pump technology will get better and be able to use these algorithms. And it's just, things are only going up from here. They really are. Technology is going to make it a lot easier. And so that's just my 2 cents on this. Again, don't beat yourself up. There's nothing you can really do to control this. Just focus on what you can. Take care of yourself mentally, physically. I love playing basketball, and that's really, my stress relief, how I get exercise, how I take care of myself. Find your basketball. Do some trials if you can. If you feel like diabetes is kicking your trash, trials can really help and make you feel like you're punching back. Just take care of yourself. I love you all. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments on this, I'd love to hear them. Please put those down below. And just subscribe, like, do all the YouTube stuff. All right, thanks guys. Until next time.